Female sexual promiscuity. When feminism came out with their suggestion to men for equal job opportunities and equal voting rights and more governmental support if you're a single woman, they never signed up for sexual promiscuity. Feminism added that in after the agreement and terms were signed by men. Men gave women double standards. These double standards included voting rights and equal job opportunity, as well as giving them a leg up in the world, because men already dominated the world and we let women in. When we let women in, they were like, it's too hard to get anything done because it's male dominated. So men said, okay, here's double standards, ladies, here you go. But in the contract of double standards, we never agreed to sexual promiscuity in women. This is something that feminism added in after the agreement was signed between men and women. Feminism is taking advantage of men's kindness, and it needs to stop. As a matter of fact, sexual promiscuity in females is a deal breaker on the double standards. So maybe men need to start threatening to take away the double standards, since women have broken the contract between men and women. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stupid, retarded men out there that think sexual promiscuity in women is great. That's because they're stupid boneheads. They don't understand that you cannot evolve as a man unless you have a child and a decent wife and a good home. You will never be fulfilled. Women have destroyed marriage. They have taken everything good out of it and used it and taken all the responsibility and tossed it in the trash can. They're not loyal anymore. They're not even decent anymore. All they want to do is harm you. They want to take your money. They want to hurt you. And you know why? Because mothers out there have kicked out the father in the daughter's life and so spend their whole entire life looking for the man that fills her father's role. Used to be a time that a father was in a daughter's life and she would have her fulfillment from the man, that she could focus on other things. She wouldn't grow up being 13 years old, 14 years old already seeking a man, because she already had one, her daddy. Now, women are out there with no daddies in their life, and as soon as they're old enough and they get a little tickle down there they go. They're off looking for a male. You got to replace not having daddy around, because mommy kicked daddy to the curb. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of this stupid cycle, and I'm sick of dumbass men not seeing it. When you allow women to be promiscuous, they will be. Name me one woman that never, when you give them the finger, they don't take the whole hand. Sexual promiscuity in women is the worst thing for them. They need structure. They need discipline. They need a person that takes control and takes leadership. They seek leadership in men. And if men keep going around throwing their penises around and acting like they're going to be, what they need, and they don't get it, it messes up their head. So you end up with women what we have today. Women that hate men, women who are confused in the brain, women who think they are men. Don't you get it? Look at feminism. They're all saying, you don't need men, you don't need men, you don't need men. That's because they want women to be wild and free, because they know wild and free women are promiscuous. Therefore, the lesbian group who started feminism has a wider choice on food, on who they want to select. It's like they're predators. They are predators. And if you sit there and don't control your lady and make sure to keep her out of harm's way, they will be a predator. They will see them as food, as something to eat, something to be a carnivore on. Take advantage of. It's up to men. It's always been up to men. Men are the leaders of the world. Women are not the leaders of the world. Women are leaders of their own egos. All they care about is ego. Makeup is ego. Needing confidence all the time, ego. Needing that selfish boost all the time, ego. Doing their hair for 2 hours, ego. Sitting in the bathroom for 3 hours, ego. Vanity, vanity, ego. They have no structure. Men give them structure. And if you take away the male influence, you're taking away her structure. This is why when they become 30, 40 years old, they act like they're 15 years old. This is why the divorce rate is so high. This is why men cannot stand them. It is not sexist for me to say this, it's what the truth is. And I know people don't like the truth, but the truth is the truth. If you take away a girl's daddy, you screw her up for life. And she will have, and if you give her freedom to have as much sex as she wants to, and call this exploration or, trial runs or whatever they see it as like renting the pussy out to every man, this is what's going to happen. They need a dad in their life so they don't go out seeking it out of different random men. The problem is when every time they come across a man, they take a little bit of influence from each man they've been with. So if they've been with 30 men, there's 30 men that have influenced her, and by the time she's 30 years old, and by the time she's, you think she'd be ready for marriage, she is completely mental. But men are allowing this to happen because we don't put an end to feminism. It's a vicious cycle. Marry a man, have his kids, kick the man out, take his money. That's the cycle of feminism. But they don't even care what it's doing to the kids. They don't care. They just see, child support. They don't care what the hell they're doing to the kids. That the kid has no father anymore. That the kid cannot be, structured and balanced. I mean, God, you know how much a father brings to a child's life? It's ridiculous. Then the woman goes out and seeks in another man. Starting around the age of 11, 12, 13 years old, looking for a boyfriend, putting on makeup on her face, needing that ego boost, because daddy is no longer there to give it to her. Daddy doesn't give her a hug. So now she has to go out and find the men, but these men don't want to give her a hug. They want to put their penis in her body. See the cycle? So not having a dad leads to a young little girl growing up seeking a father figure, seeking structure, seeking balance. They don't get that from a mother. A mother is never balanced. She's very unbalanced. She's so unbalanced, she kicked the father out. She was so unbalanced, she didn't understand that the father plays a dominance role in her life because he gives her structure and balance. This is why women need men. For structure and balance. And this is why men do not need women, because they don't contribute anything but heartache, headache, and suffering. Sorry, ladies, it's the truth. Ladies, you need men for structure and balance. And just because the world right now is prosperous and the men have built everything up, does not mean that you could take the leadership role. If you wanted the leadership role, maybe you should have went into the mines and into the coals and helped and suffered as much as men did. Maybe you should have gotten on the battlefield and protected your land like men did. Men earned the right to be leaders. They have died by the millions together in war. They have suffered together. They have died in trenches for you. And this is how you repay them? You want to talk about insults and suffering and pain in women's lives, how you were oppressed. But you know what male privilege really was in the 50s and in the 40s? Dying in trenches and war. Dying for you. I don't see no women dying for men, but I do see a lot of men dying for women. Bit strange, don't you think? If you were so-called the oppressed ones.